Okay, so there's a video going around right now that Dawn Piper made that she broke down what the new IDPH siren notification was discussing, and she did an awesome job breaking that down for everybody. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch that. Um, there was some things that could have been added to it, so I'm actually making my own video to kind of explain a little bit more in depth with what we know as IDHA as opposed to what she knew from, collecting and gathering information, not being part of IDHA. So we have a little bit more insight than she did. So just like Dawn said in her video, skip the first paragraph. Don't even pay attention to the date, whatever it says in the first paragraph. Okay, so we're going to go to the second paragraph. Second paragraph starts out, IDPH has carefully monitored the daily newly reported cases. Okay. What they're looking at is the percentage of positive cases in relation to the tests done in that 24-hour period. The disease started out with a 16% positive case rate, meaning the amount of cases divided by the amount of tests done. This percentage peaked around the middle of April and was at about 22% in mid-April, and has now gone down to 18%, and it's consistently been down to 18%, and it's actually starting to dwindle down. It was like 18.6, 18.4, and just yesterday it was like 18.01. So let me break it down a little bit more. So yesterday I looked at the number of cases and the population of the state. Okay, so we have to look at this as the entire state. Now, the entire state has 12.67 million people in our entire state. There are 76,085 cases as of yesterday. That accounts for 0.6% of the population of the state is COVID-19 positive. Now let's look at Chicago. Okay, Chicago has 2.706 million people who live in Chicago. Their case total is 30,393. Their percentage of their population with COVID-19 is 1% of that population. So let's go back to the total of the population for the state and take out Chicago. So we're looking at the entire state except for Chicago. The entire state minus Chicago has 9.96 million people. Those cases are 45,692 cases of COVID-19 positive as of yesterday. That's 0.4% of the entire population of the state with COVID-19. That would make 0.6% minus 0.4%. So Chicago accounts for 0.2% of the COVID cases in the entire state of Illinois. So basically, Chicago is 1/3 of the cases of Illinois. So we're looking at the entire state, not just what's going on in Chicago too. So it's a relatively low amount of cases when you look at it in the bigger picture. And when we're looking at it as the percentage of cases that are like the transmission rate is what they're looking at. So that's that percentage of positive cases minus the tests done. So we went from 16% to 22%, and now we're going down to 18%. So while those numbers of cases are increasing or they're still around the same, and we're probably going to have more cases daily, the percentage is dropping. It's dropping, it's steady, we're kind of flatlining a little bit in that sense. That's what IDPH numbers are using to open up the state of Illinois. That's what the IDPH numbers were using when they decided to retract, saying that they think that dental offices should remain closed. Let's move on. So on page 4, number 3, protective equipment. Dental clinics will need appropriate PPE and treatment area safety based on the type of procedures that will be performed. Providers should ensure an adequate supply of PPE is available to be able to provide patient care in the setting of continued COVID-19 community transmission. Page 2 on the top then explains treatment area safety. Okay, so let's go back to page 4. Number 4, infection control. For moderate or high-risk procedures, minimal PPE includes a fit-tested N95 or higher level respirator with full face shield protection and gown. If patient is known to have COVID, they should be treated in a negative pressure room. If patients with an unknown COVID status, dental clinics should adhere to standards of practices at least as stringent as those recommended by CDC, ADA, and OSHA. Again, refer back to page 2 at the top for those standards. Now, I want to explain something about OSHA. OSHA is the standard of employee protection. It is the division of the Department of Labor, created in 1970 to protect employers protect employees in the workplace. OSHA standards include requirements for employers to prevent exposure to some infectious diseases, ensure safety of workers who enter confined spaces, and provide respirators or other safety equipment. Now, if you are being mandatory reported to your office without all of those protections in place, bring to mind to your employer what is the standard, so that they know what needs to be done and what you need to have in place to protect you and all the employees in that office. If they still do not adhere to those standards, only then is when you report to OSHA. Don't go reporting to OSHA just because they're saying, okay, well, come back and we have this. You have to work with your employer to get those standards in place before you can report to OSHA. Reporting to OSHA for just automatically not having something, or because you think that you automatically don't have something, it's going to flood up OSHA. It's not utilizing OSHA the way it needs to be used. So keep that in mind going forward. And I have to reiterate that, yes, Governor Pritzker, when he went on to his press conference a couple weeks ago, that weekend, and he said 2 days in a row that I did not close dental offices in the executive order, he was correct. Dentistry was listed as essential. We were allowed to be open this entire time. IDPH put out guidance and recommendation. They call it a mandate, but it's not the same kind of mandate as the stay-at-home mandate executive order was. The only authority in the state of Illinois that can make that decision is the governor. And the governor did not close dental offices. We are listed as essential on the stay-at-home mandate executive order. Now, going forward, offices need to use their best professional judgment to open. And best professional judgment includes ethics. includes having the OSHA standards to protect their employees, includes having those standards in place to protect the patients, to protect the public. If none of that is happening, then and only then is when you should be reporting. Hopefully this helps clear up a little bit more confusion. But I mean, if you have any other questions, we can try and answer them the best that we can. I mean, we have a lot of knowledge, and we've broken a lot of things down, and we're trying to answer and field as many questions as we can. But I know there's a lot of misinformation floating around and confusion created from that misinformation. So hopefully I've helped clear up a little bit more. Dawn's video cleared up some of that too. So hopefully altogether you guys are starting to get some useful information from this point forward.